Good evening. Welcome to the first public meeting of the Citizens Budget and Finance Advisory Committee. We're very happy to be here today. I thank the members of the public that came out this evening. I know everyone's very busy, so thank you. And thank the viewers at home who are watching. I'd just like to take a minute to set the stage for tonight's meeting. We're going to have a brief presentation, after which we'll have public comment. And at that point, it is the public's meeting. We encourage you to come up to the microphone. Any ideas, comments, suggestions, recommendations, we would love to hear, really love to hear. For those at home, on the radnor.com website, you can find our email address, which is citizensfinance@radnor.org. And at any time, feel free to email us your ideas. The presentation tonight will be up on our webpage by the end of the week. So for those at home that would like to look at it again, you can do that. What I will tell you, though, is because we're a relatively newly formed committee and much time has been spent getting our arms around the budget, understanding township operations, what we don't have tonight yet are answers. And we won't be putting forth any recommendations at this time. We're still understanding what we're going to be doing at this point. And we've been spending a lot of time gathering data and working on the survey that we'll talk about tonight as well. Okay, so we're going to take just a minute and introduce ourselves. Probably, you know, some of us and some not. I'm Sarah Armstrong. I'm a CPA. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for a local software company. My accounting career started in actually auditing Montgomery County as an auditor at Deloitte. 25-year Radnor resident, and I joined the committee because Radnor is my home for a long time. I plan to be here a long time, and I wanted to serve my community, so that's why I'm here tonight. I'm going to take a moment to introduce Craig Wieland, who's not with us this evening. Craig Wieland is a professor of political science and public administration at Villanova University. He is currently Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs. Craig volunteered to serve on the committee in order to use his expertise in local government to help identify options to address the township's budget issues and to promote citizen participation in the budget process. Craig regrets that he cannot attend tonight's meeting. He is attending his father-in-law's funeral in New York. On behalf of the committee, our deepest condolences to Craig and his family. Robert, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Robert Boeninger. I'm a manager in KPMG's Global Location and Expansion Services Group. Prior to working for KPMG, I served on both the Governor's Action Team and in the Governor's Budget Office. I've been a Radnor resident for a little over 2 years, and my reason for joining this volunteer committee was to get a better understanding of the Radnor community and sort of lend my expertise to helping solve some budgetary issues here, because I would like to remain a Radnor resident for a long time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Linden, and I've been a resident of Radnor for 16 years and have, in addition to my wife, I have 3 children that are in the school system. I work for a software company, and my career, both there and doing consulting before, has been mainly targeted at public sector organizations, mostly larger entities like states and larger counties and cities. But most of my career has been involved with financial management in those organizations, as well as being exposed to a lot of different of the operational functions that go on in government. So I bring that experience to the committee. And I joined it because with that background, I've often been interested in Radnor's finances and have looked at the available information and had questions and curiosities about different things, and thought the committee would be a good way to dig in and understand those issues, but also to provide some benefit to the township as well.
Hello, my name's Nick Kemp. I am a Radnor resident of the past 4.5 years. I live here with my wife and my 3 children. I am a wealth management advisor, certified financial planner with Northwestern Mutual's wealth management company. Have been for the last 20 years. And I simply wanted to join this committee because I thought possibly that some of my experience could be of service to the commissioners. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rob Murdaca, and I came to this area to go to Penn Wharton, and after Penn Wharton, I became a CPA at Price Waterhouse. Sorry, I thought you made a point. Sorry about that. From there, I became a municipal investment banker at Merrill Lynch in New York City, and after that, I actually came back to the area as a VP finance at a startup company in Bryn Mawr. Most recently, I've been back in the area for nearly a decade after getting an MBA at Harvard Business School, and I've been practicing commercial real estate as a developer and a broker. I'm a non-practicing CFP and a non-practicing CPA as other parts of my background.
Good evening. My name is Philip Wilson. Thank you for you guys to come on out. I'm a 11-year Radnor resident, actually a two-timer. Was born and raised in the area, moved and came back after a 25-year absence. So I like it twice. I've got 32 years in the energy and utility industries, and 18 of which were in really corporate America. The last 14 have been in 3 different small enterprises in which I've been an owner or partner. So what I bring is really strategic business planning and cost management. My real focus for coming to the group to volunteer, which we all are, was really for my own personal sake to find out about Radnor and some of the internal workings of Radnor, just for my personal education, and second, to then hopefully apply what I do know and what I've experienced over the years and apply it back to Radnor. I feel and have felt, and the reason we came back was because Radnor is a very unique community. I've been in a lot of different places and I've found nothing like Radnor. So I think it's definitely worthwhile working on and working towards a better Radnor.
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Joseph Ellis. My career experience includes approximately 25 years in governmental accounting and budgeting. I served as school business administrator for Radnor Township from 1984 through 1997, and prior to that at Rose Tree Media School District until coming to Radnor. In addition, I have approximately 25 years of experience in corporate accounting, finance, and auditing. I volunteered to serve on the advisory committee to offer my assistance to the township, the Board of Commissioners, the administration, in order to address the finance and budget issues that will be presented this evening. Thank you.
Evening, my name is Chris Watson. I'm a 8-year resident of Radnor. I apologize for being a little bit tardy to the meeting. I just came from a school district budget meeting that's going on at the same time. A very important meeting as well. My background, I'm an ex-naval submariner and nuclear engineer by trade. Got into finance and became a financial manager for PSE&G over at Southern New Jersey, handling the financial budgets for the nuclear assets over there. I then left to pursue my own property management. I manage numerous properties in the Center City area of Philadelphia, and that's primarily my background. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Well, you heard our professional credentials, but we're your neighbors. I think that's an important aspect to keep in mind. This is a more formal setting than we're used to, necessitated by the video, but we want to hear from everyone. You can reach out to us at any time. We're a very approachable group. So we're going to go to the background just to set the stage here a little bit. The group was organized. The resolution was passed for our group at the end of February 22nd. The formal resolution is available on the website if you'd like to read the entire resolution, but one of the first aspects of our charge is to increase public participation in the budget process, and that's why we're here tonight. I firmly believe that participation begins with education, and I will consider tonight a success if you learn something this evening about the township finances. We are strictly advisory. We're a volunteer 9-member committee. We will be developing a report of all of our recommendations. However, we have no authority to make any decisions, and those will be made eventually by the commissioners. Our next public meeting will be June 14th here in the Radnor Township building. So our approach, there was no blueprint as to how we should proceed when we began. We were, some of us didn't know each other. We were put together as a 9-member volunteer group, and the first few meetings are, what are we doing? How are we going to do this? And like I said, there was no blueprint. So what we're doing is focusing on what Radnor residents truly want from local government: needs versus wants assessments, core services versus user fee-based services, for example. As I said before, increase citizen participation within the budget process, solicit public input through the survey, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more. Understand programmatic demands from department heads. We are soon going to be kicking off our department head meetings here at the Township Building. Also to acknowledge, for us to acknowledge and everyone to acknowledge that there are tough decisions that are going to have to be made. The reality is this is not unique to Radnor Township. This is a challenge for all levels of government here at the township. You just heard here at the school district, the county, the state, et cetera. So the good news is we're getting a start early on this. We have a lot of talent that are looking at all the different opportunities, and we're open-minded and creative about solutions. We truly believe there are no bad ideas, so put forth anything that you would like. Next slide is the Citizens Budget Survey. I'm clearly biased, but I think it is really, really well done. I can't take any credit for that. I'd like to thank publicly Craig Wieland and Philip Wilson, who really led the charge on this. And at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Philip Wilson to talk for a minute about the letter and the survey itself.
Thanks, Sarah. I realized, just looking around here, I missed the memo on the blue blazers for the gentleman. I got the shirt right. In terms of the survey, I have to push it back. The survey really was work of the whole committee, and what we were trying to do, as Sarah outlined, is our first charge is really to represent the citizens of Radnor. So we felt the survey was paramount in our effort to gather some information from as many people as possible. So the survey is meant to be easy to do, easy to fill out. The biggest part of it, or as big a part as the filling out the actual answers that are in there, there is room for comment. Any comment you want, as many comments as you have, everything is to be consumed by the advisory group and to be utilized. So we definitely encourage everybody to take the survey. The survey can be found, the easiest way to do it is online. We do encourage you to take it online. There are hard copies in the library, the senior center, and here at the Township Building. So if you can, go to the Radnor website, the Radnor Township website, and you'll go down to the featured news, and I think the second line item points you to the survey. And the survey takes 10 minutes. It's from all accounts, is simple to take. One part of the survey, and the opening to the survey, when you get it, if you get a hard copy or if you take it online, there is a letter that precedes the actual questions. The letter was thought out to the effect that Sarah was outlining. It's really an education process that we're going through for myself, for the other committee members, for yourselves also, to discover what, some of the inner workings of Radnor Township. So the letter on there goes through a number of bullet items that you may find you already know, you may find you didn't know, or you may find that's useful information. But so far that people have commented, that's been helpful. So do read the, it's not instructions, it's more informational. So we encourage you to read the letter. As I said, the survey takes about 10 minutes. To this point, the survey's been out there for a week. I think we got something in the Suburban, the Mainline Times about it being in the online. So we have now 146 responses to date. I mean, about 3 hours ago. That's the first time we looked. Actually, my wife had asked me, did we get any responses? And I said, well, I don't know. So I looked, and there was 146. So we certainly encourage, that's a good start. The survey will be up and open till June 1st. So please encourage your neighbors, anybody to take it. You can only take it once. Well, that's on an honor system. We're not, it's all anonymous, so we have no idea who's taking it. You can take it at the library, you can take it at home, you can take it wherever you need. If you need to do the hard copy, you can do that, and we'll collect those. So once again, we encourage you to take the survey. It's your way to get your interests, your thoughts, across to the rest of the township. So we encourage that. Thank you.
May I add one thing? If you feel that the survey is not hitting a key point that you would like to get across, there is a comment section at the end of the survey. Please add in your thoughts. Okay? If the survey is not hitting what you're looking to be addressed, make sure you're addressing it in the comments at the end of the survey. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, and the next slide, we have tonight 4 slides that we've put together for this evening's presentation on township finances. This is a very high-level financial overview at this point. This first slide, consolidated township budget. The township is made up of 8 separate funds. Those 8 funds are listed at the bottom of the presentation, starting with the general fund. And the chart above that says all funds basically just rolls up all 8 of those funds and shows the revenue, the expenses, and then the net change, and then the fund balance, the net change, and the ending fund balance. So this lays out, this shows why we're here tonight, why you're here, and why this group was formed. As you can see, in 2010 through 2012, our expenses are exceeding our revenues in every year. And so what does that mean? That means that we eat into our fund balance. So if you look at the top, the revenues and the expenses, that's kind of like your checking account at home. So you're paying all of your bills out of your checking account, and if you don't have enough money in your checking account, what do? You go to your savings account, and that's your fund balance. So we're starting 2010, where the budget for 2010 revenues, $36.2 million, with expenses of $40.1 million, for a net loss of $3.8 million. Well, we do have fund balance, which is our savings account. That's our rainy day fund. And we're starting this year with $10.9 million in that. But we're going to have to take $3.8 million out of that fund to cover our operations. And that's happening year after year, projected through 2012, that we will have eaten $8.3 million out of our fund balance, our rainy day fund. So clearly immediate action is necessary for us to realign our expenses with our revenue expectations. And that's why we're here tonight. So why don't we go to the next slide? Now the next 2 slides, like I had said, the township has 8 separate funds. We're going to just look on the revenue and expenses at this point tonight on the general fund. We will be looking at all 8 funds, but the majority of the operations activities occur in the general fund. So tonight that's what we're going to present. So general fund revenues, what's going on with revenue and what are the components of revenue? The largest component is real estate taxes. That's when you all get your property tax bill to pay here at Radnor. That's almost 42% of total revenues. And then another 33% is what's called Act 51. And the Act 51 taxes are business taxes essentially, but that also includes transfer tax. When property is sold here in Radnor Township, there's a 2.5% transfer tax that is paid on transfers of property. 1% goes to the state, 1% goes to Radnor Township, and 0.5% goes to Radnor School District. And the expectation is that we will collect $1.8 million into our general fund from transfer tax. So many of those taxes are dependent upon activities occurring, like real estate transferring hands here in Radnor Township. And what is happening is that while real estate taxes, property taxes, have held steady, and we did have an 11% tax increase this year, so they have grown, all other taxes have been decreasing. And so that's the challenge that we have on the revenue side here in the general fund. Okay, then on the general fund expenditures slide, there's many different ways to cut the expenditure data. You can take a look at expenses by department, by account type, and tonight here what we've done is we've summarized them into the 6 major program areas. And the 6 major program areas are the first 6 of the 7 boxes listed below. general government, protection to persons and property, sanitation, highways, library, parks and recreation. And we are looking at all of these expenses, but what we do want to point out is that some of the expenses are contractual, and they can only be reduced through contract negotiations when those times come, and even the debt payments. Those are contractual at this point, and unless something is done, they are what they are at this point. Then the last financial slide that we have is Radnor Township debt. We felt it was important to understand what the debt obligation is of Radnor Township. Total principal due, $56.4 million. Total interest due, $33.5 million. Total payments of principal and interest, $90 million. Those payments will occur over the next 27 years. So the $90 million is payments due through 12/31/2037. To give you a sense of the magnitude of this, we have listed the principal and interest payments due over the next 3 years. Just in this year, 2010, $4.5 million. This is like your mortgage. So when you get a mortgage, you have your house. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at the debt load as compared to the assets that the township is having. And we're making drawing no conclusions at this time on that, just that it's an interesting point of data, and it is something that is an obligation of the township unless we're able to do something about that. Okay. Then the next slide is just our timeline. We have been working very hard. We've been getting together and coming up with all kinds of ideas and opportunities for cost savings. And so we have a very aggressive timeline. And we are on point to deliver a final report by October 15th to the commissioners this year. And the goal of tonight's meeting was really just to solicit your input, educate the public about the current financial picture, and that's it. So at this point, I hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and I'd like to turn this meeting over to the public. It's really your meeting. We're here to listen to any ideas, comments, thoughts, suggestions that you may have. Please feel free to come to the microphone if you'd like to say anything.
Sarah, do you think it'd be worthwhile to mention our email address so that, comments can be, there it is.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yes. The email address, again, citizensfinance@radnor.org. If you go to the Radnor, www.radnor.com, you can find our committee, and the survey link is listed there. Our resolution is listed there, our email address is listed there, and this presentation will also be there by the end of the week. But again, if there's any ideas or just comments you'd like to make, this is the meeting for the public. Thank you.
You coming? No, go ahead. After all, you're the treasurer. You know.
I think he's, yeah.
Good evening, I'm John Osborne, the treasurer of Radnor. I want to thank you all for doing all this work. It's a wonderful presentation, and special thanks to my daughter. I don't have any
Slight bias.
I don't have any specific suggestions at this time. I think you'll get them as you go around and talk to people. A lot of this is we're going to have union negotiations coming up, and I guess you need the big place where money is spent is on salaries and payroll. We don't have a compensation expert up there, but we're basically all that, so you can do surveys and around the area and so forth. So I wish you good speed in what you're doing, and I'm sure that you will come up with some good suggestions. We're all a little hesitant right now to come up and say where we can save money. Maybe we could turn the lights off. But again, thank you for your work, and I'm going to turn it over to George now.
My name is George Strimmel. I live at 47 Luella Court. This podium seems familiar to me. I think I was here last night. On behalf of the library, I hold a number of positions in the town, and that's really what I wanted to talk to you about. I don't mean to throw any cold water on your survey, but if I can go back into my graduate days of doing tests and measurements and doing surveys, just make sure you tell everybody that this is an opinion survey. And so when you look at the numbers, they don't exactly necessarily reflect. I mean, let's face it, it's an honor system, and not everyone has honor. And so you could stack it a little, and not everyone, it's not aggressive. You're not going out there and shaking the tree through a like a telephone coincidental, which really would do it. It's been a lot of years since I took a course in statistics, but I was pretty good at it, and having spent many years in broadcasting, obviously we live and die by the Nielsen's, which are no more than a reflection of good surveying. So I would also indicate that any survey, as it is set up, will elicit certain reactions. If, for instance, on number 2, you put disagree where agree is and agree where disagree is, you would find a different answer. That just is human nature, and you should be well aware of it. Same with the questions. So just as a caveat, I would note that perhaps don't guarantee to anyone the statistical validity of what you find. All you are finding is what somebody who cares put it in. And maybe not everyone who cares has put it in. So that's just a word of caution. I stand before you to talk about something that is reflected on here, and that is the nonprofits of any community. If we look at a community that really has civic pride, we look at the communities with things, not the ones without. There are townships and communities in this state that have no roads, that have no police, that have no sewers, that indeed have no water. In fact, they don't have anything except somebody sitting on their chair in their own kitchen collecting taxes. Everybody has taxes. That's about it. We should think about the things with, the positive things. And some of those are put in here and some of them aren't here. A great number of them aren't in here. And that is very important to consider also the things that make us. Why do we live here? Why do you speak about wanting to stay here? Well, I want to stay here too. I don't have as long to stay here, but age catches up with everybody. But the fact is that Radnor really is a very, very special place, and we want to make sure it stays special. I'll talk about 3 organizations I'm involved with. One is the American Legion Post 418, the Anthony Wayne Post. We, along with Bateman Gallagher, for indeed Radnor has 2 American Legion posts. That just shows what a great town we are. In any case, we're the ones that come out and march and make sure there are flags and make sure that we properly dispose of our flags and participate in Memorial Day parades, and we actually get no support from the town. Except we meet at Valley Forge Military Academy. And Valley Forge Military Academy does get, because they are a tax-exempt organization. And they're not paying the same freight that everybody else is paying. And that's something you should consider as you begin to consider how you might take care of it. They're not the only. I'm not picking out Valley Forge, only thanking them for reaching out to our community. And incidentally, when we did a survey, we went to Eastern University and we got one of their classes to do the survey for us, the telephone coincidental, and it really quite well worked. Now, another organization I'm involved in, you may know, is Radnor Studio 21, where I've been the general manager for now coming up on 10 years and running that particular community service. You noted in your numbers there that we receive from the township some $70,000 a year, of which $61,000 is a pass-through. Now, that is not evident. You need to dig to see those, where those dollars and cents are coming from. So the actual contribution of the tax dollars is about $6,700 or $8,700 a year, and that's what goes. The rest of it is basically earned through the fees that we get from the cable companies. And only those fees only come from the people who subscribe, and there are plenty of people in this town who don't subscribe to either cable company. which is something to remember when you're talking about going to your computer, because you may not be on the internet. But there are lots of people who take off air and by satellite. They pay absolutely nothing. It's only the people who benefit, and we hope they are benefiting from watching Radnor Studio 21, only those people benefit. So the actual number here is 8,700. It isn't 70,000. Now, if you're not on the internet, where do you go? Well, you go to the library. Also, as I shift hats here rapidly, I happen to be the president of the library. And the library receives some 66% of all its continuing operating costs from the township. Some $815,000 or thereabouts. Our very eloquent and knowledgeable executive director, Kathy Mulroy, is behind me, and she could answer that specifically. But it is about 66% comes from the town. And in return for which, and of course we also receive a building, which was the reason I was standing here last night. We also receive the building and the support of the building, although we do the utilities, et cetera. Can you imagine a town without a library? I mean, is that even conceivable? There are towns in this county that have no library. There are towns in surrounding counties that have no library. But we have one. Some places, Lower Merion has 5. We have 1. And that serves a large number of people. And again, Kathy could give the specific numbers, but I think it approaches 200,000 people going in that upper area every year. That's a lot of coming and going. Those are people who come there and gain from the library. Those things only commend to each and every one of you a deeper digging into all there are plenty of others. Senior Center, for which I qualify, but I must say don't participate. In any case, all of those absolutely require getting in and talking to people. So I would ask that we're having this public meeting, which I think is very, very good. But in addition, you might want to have some sit down, even divide up into committees or whatever you want, to learn more about all these services, the art service, the art center, the other things that are so important. Those are the things that make us the extra. They're the with, not without. And I end on there, and thank you very much for your time. I'm available to answer questions if you want to dig further into any of the things I just talked about.
George, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate all of your comments. I do want to reassure you that we've all recognized from the beginning it's not a statistical survey. You called it opinion survey. I've been calling it a preferences survey. Your point is well taken. Thank you for all your comments.
I feel intimidated, but I'm Sarah Pilling, and I live at 29 Garrett Avenue, and I've now lived here 3 weeks shy of 28 years. I'm a very practical person and a very pragmatic person, and I realize this is extremely complex, and it wasn't until I got Quicken and TurboTax that I got control of my finances, so I'm definitely not a financier. But I want to tell you a quick story that someone told me about a lawsuit that was between 2 people in the township and the school district on the transference of some permits that the school district should have paid or might have paid or could have paid to the township in the building of the schools. And so a lawsuit was brought. And one of the plaintiffs was deposed. And the point that was tried to be made was that if someone could use the Willows for free because they were a nice person and they lived in the township, and why not, that was the same thing as the school district not having to pay $800,000 worth of permits, to which that person responded, no. Which is my point. We have lived in a time where there has been a lot of money and people got to feel entitled. And that entitlement makes it very difficult to suck it up and to begin to learn to live on less. And it's really hard to give up things. But the essence is everybody needs to help pull the load now. And what I would encourage you to do is to offer up to the commissioners who aren't going to want to do it. Witness last night, the Jazz Fest got their fees waived, and they're all good. Katie Sampson got some of their fees waived, and the library got this little situation resolved. But I would encourage you to look at a way to develop a schedule that is equitable, where everybody helps pull the load. You use the Willows, you may only pay for the utilities and the water and the help of that time, but nobody gets a free ride anymore. It would be difficult, people aren't gonna like it, but it puts everybody on the same playing field. It's on an equal level to the best of your ability. And I think it's as nice as it is and as good history as it is that you've forgiven, the township has waived fees here and there and everywhere. But we're not living in those times anymore. We all have to learn to use our money more wisely and to say, you know, I'd really love to have that, but it's not in the cards this month, this year, or forever. So I'm so glad you are here to try and get a handle on this and to show the township that volunteers have value. I'd like to see much more use of volunteers in this township with respect and with that they are capable. We, for instance, in Garrett Hill, want to form the Friends of the Garrett Hill Parks so that we'd be organized as volunteers to work in our 2 parks and pick up those pieces that the township either can't do or won't do. So that I think you stand as a model of how citizen committees can not be interferers but can be assets to the township. And that's part of the everybody helping pull the load. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. I think you read my mind. I'm very motivated to make this a success so that this is this can be modeled in other areas in the township. We have such talent here in Radnor, and we should leverage that talent. Our people are assets of Radnor Township, and so what expertise they have that they can lend to the rest of the residents of Radnor, using their expertise, addressing very specific problems that need to be addressed, I think would be fantastic. Thank you for your comments.
I don't have a comment, not a question.
Would you like some?
Question on this?
I'm sorry, yeah, if you could come to the microphone, otherwise they can't hear you at home. Thank you.
My name's Brad O'Brien. My question, I think, to the committee here is I notice on here that 2/3 of the expenditures are related to the general fund. But it looks like 2/3 of the losses are attributable to the everything else, the other 1/3 there. Just could you, well, you don't have any information here, could you comment on what are those other 1/3?
Would you mind pointing me to the specific numbers? So you're looking at the
I'm looking
general
at
fund?
Well, the general fund is 26 out of, what 38 was it? 36?
40.
The losses from the general fund are 1.4, I think.
So the other losses, or the other?
Out of the 3.8.
The other losses are coming,
2.4 is from.
all
whatever
other 7
everything else
funds,
is.
all other 7 funds combined. So we have the sewer fund, liquid fund, capital fund, special assessments fund, park and open space, willows, and debt service. So all the other 7 funds make up, and we will be looking at all of those, and likely at our next public meeting, we'll be presenting those as well. We don't have any answers at this point on.
Okay, there isn't any information associated with the survey that we can find on those other ones, on, the breakdown of what's within those categories,
Well, the total township budget is available on radnor.com.
Okay.
And I can
That's-
point you to
it's-
that if you'd like.
That can be found in there?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I think, is that right, Bill? Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Well, I believe this concludes this evening's public comment. Again, I'd like to remind people at home, we are available on the web, radnor.com, and you can find us under departments, and all of our information is there, as well as our email address. Please email us. Please take the survey. We're really looking forward to hearing from as many people as possible. Thank you so much.